Hello, guys. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing great. Of course, we are in for another Premier League weekend. Another weekend where we get to watch different teams. Pull up very interesting performances, and then of course, we're certainly going to see teams that would fall our hands. Depending on the club you're supporting. I know some of us already have our expectations for the new Premier League weekend. And then I know some of us have sort of, lost hope. We don't, it's looking like we don't believe in our clubs again. Yeah, and that's talking about Manchester United fans. Forget that I'm laughing like this. Manchester United keeps falling my hands. I mean, I don't know where to start talking from. You understand? My head don't full. Like Manchester United is just not giving me joy, and I believe that's like the same situation for millions of fans of the club all over the world. No, 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 no. This wasn't what we expected. Coming into the new Premier League season. And talking about Manchester United, I don't know how many of us watched that Carabao Cup clash against Grimsby Town on, I think it was on Wednesday, yeah, 27th. I watched it and I was 100% disappointed. Like, I was really disappointed, from the very first minute to the last minute. When the game started, and of course, the field was wet. Initially, I wanted to say, okay, maybe it's because of the nature of the pitch that, okay, the players better understand because obviously, they outplayed Manchester United from every angle. You needed to see these guys. Eh? Imagine Manchester United come the struggle, and I was like, come on, like I kept on shouting from the very first minute to the last minute. When of course it ended in a penalty. So no, 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 no. The players really underperformed. They really underperformed, and of course it was 1-0, and then it was 2-0. Obviously Onana made a very big mistake, and I keep wondering what's really happening to Onana. He's really really underperforming. He's really really underperforming. I don't know. I mean, Manchester United really needs to start thinking of an alternative. I don't. It's beginning to take too much time. They really need to bring in, another goalkeeper who would replace Onana. And I'm aware that there are teams that are currently coming for him. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like they should let him go. They should let him go and get a goalkeeper who would perform better. Just imagine that second goal, the kind of mistake. I was wondering what he really had in mind. Did he intend to punch the ball away, or he intended to get a grip of the ball, and then the rest is history. Of course, thankfully, so as the game progressed 2-0, Amorim brought in Mbuemo, and then he got Manchester United back into the game. And then before you know, Harry Maguire also made it 2-2. And then, the game continued. Manchester United missed a couple of chances here and there. Shasko missed, a couple of chances as well. Um, and then the game finally ended in a penalty. Come on. This was another opportunity for Manchester United players to, win the game, and then of course the club will progress to the next round of the competition. But sadly, as fate would have it, I don't know if that's correct or yeah. So Manchester United are out of the Carling Cup. I mean, some of these small small trophies are the ones that previously Manchester United really used to do well. And I mean, that's talking about a couple of years back. Of course, they won the EPL, and then so I was now like, now we be like, say, we're not even going anywhere in the Premier League. I mean, they should have put in a lot of effort, to progress to the next round and then see how they can even win the trophy. At least use that one and be consoling fans because obviously, I don't know. Looking at the performance of the players so far, I don't think that they are going to finish top in the Premier League this season. I have my doubts, and I mean, of course, these are like my personal opinions. I mean, you're entitled to your opinions, which of course you can share in the comment section. Um, so I don't know. Like currently, it's really confusing, and I believe that many of you, who are fans of Manchester United out there, are in a very similar situation. I don't know if the coach is to blame. I don't know if the players are to blame. And I mean, everybody keeps talking about, the coach's structure or his system, playing three at the back, but I don't think that he is entirely to blame, right? So if this is a system that he has decided to play, and by the way, that we're not talking about the Premier League now, this is Carabao Cup. So if he decided to go on with that system, it is up to the players, to put in their 100%. I mean, this is Manchester United we're talking about. And I'm beginning to think that many of those players do not really understand that in Manchester United, there's a culture of winning. All right. So it's common for players to, not give in their 100% when they do not understand the existing culture in a club. Manchester United has a culture of winning. All right. I believe that, it's about time that many of those players, began to understand that fact. So if a coach is playing the system, it is up to you to put in your effort. You win the game first, and then of course you can have that discussion. You understand? So I don't this idea of always hiding behind, okay, it's the fault of the coach because of the structure. Now you have a second and third or fourth division club winning you and sending you out of the Carabao. It's really a shame. I mean, it's really, really a shame. If you listened to the coaches that's talking about Ruben Amorim now, if you listen to his post-match review, he almost cried. I mean, you could tell that this guy is frustrated, and there was something he said that I don't know. It wasn't really clear, but I felt like he thinks that the players do not want him in the club again. He said that, and that's quoting him directly now. He said that the players spoke loudly tonight. So I don't know. Is that suggestive of the fact that okay, they've become fed up with him? They don't want him again, or but if that's the case, then I mean, the management really needs to do something about it because it's becoming something else. I don't understand why players will suddenly develop um, some sort of, I don't know if I should say, dislike for a coach, and then they begin to misbehave on the pitch. I mean, that's not really how to go. And like I said, I can tell from how he sounded that man, he's frustrated and he might really want to go even before the management sacks him. But I feel like the management really wants to give him some time because rebuilding a team and then going back to the days of glory is one thing that is usually not easy. But then I completely understand why, their supporters all over the world are frustrated. You don't expect to spend over 200 million pounds and then you're still struggling to beat a fourth or third division side. It doesn't make sense. For the fact that match and got to a penalty it was a disgrace. I mean, looking at Manchester United, having to play penalty, no, it doesn't make sense. That was a game that I expected that they would trash those guys 5-0. You understand? And this is not me trying to look down on Grimsby Town because it's football, and sometimes you don't really know what to expect. Sometimes clubs that you overlook, turn around to really um, pull up performances that would surprise you. So I don't know. I don't know. What the management really intends to do. If they will try to get the coach to sort of restructure his system, go back to the days of playing four behind, and then let's see what happens. Of course, Man U play Burnley tomorrow. That game starts at 3 p.m. Um, I'm really struggling to understand if the players would be in a very good frame of mind to play that match because it's really disgraceful. I mean, it's not been easy for the likes of Mbuemo. Of course, he lost that last penalty kick that actually sent Manchester United out of the competition. But I mean, however we want to see it, it's something that is normal in football. I mean, I know it has sort of dampened his spirit and then that of other players, but I feel like it's not really too late. It's not too late. They can bounce back. It all depends on what they want. It all depends on the understanding of the winning mentality at Manchester United and how prepared, they are to give it their best. Because if you watch the series of matches that Manchester United has played so far, apart from the game against Arsenal, where, almost everybody brought in their A game, that EPL match against Fulham, some of the players were, they weren't really active, and I began to question, you guys are paid salaries, you have supporters globally who are looking up to you, who wake up every weekend and then with full expectations, to be satisfied, and then here you are, sort of not doing what you're supposed to do or what you're expected to do to win matches. It doesn't really make sense. So I feel like Ruben Amorim should he deserves more time apparently, but then he really needs to look at restructuring. If the back three system is not working, think of how to restructure it. Get a perfect a perfect get a perfect outline or a perfect option that would help you to win games, and then also allow players to play in positions where they naturally would play. I feel like that would go a long way in getting Manchester United back on track, because currently if we continue like this while I deal, you understand. But then of course I'm happy to know that the Manchester United have openly said that they're not willing to, let Kobe Mino go. Ruben Amorim, if you remember, he once said that Kobe, has to really fight for that place with Bruno Fernandes. It was something that really got people upset, because I'm like, Kobe is a guy for the future. So it would be Manchester United greatest, one of their greatest undoing if they let Kobe Mino go. I mean, he's strong and he's experienced regardless of his age. All right, so I'm happy, that the club is not really willing to let him go either on permanent basis or on loan. Yeah, so that's a very nice development. And of course, reports have also shown that Garnacho has finally agreed, you know, so there's been an agreement between Garnacho, Manchester United, and then Chelsea. That's obviously okay since the coach feels like he doesn't fit into the system. I mean, that's perfectly fine. And I'm also talking about other players, who have not really found clubs where they can go to, like Sancho. There's been a whole lot of back and forth. All right, so these are some of the issues that Manchester United really needs to settle, so that these players can go to wherever they want to go to, and then those who are left, can really focus on the game, because I mean the season has started already. So if you have the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham already, winning matches with huge goals. I mean, I wonder what we're going to see of Manchester United. So I would really love, the club to bounce back. All right. But if that's going to happen, I feel like bulk of the responsibility rests on the shoulders of the players, because a coach can get his tactics wrong. It is now left to you, the player, to put in your A game. All right. So you can even win games even when the coach's tactics is not really clear. But of course, I'm not trying to make a case for Ruben Amorim. You also need to look for something that can work perfectly well um, for for the players. But then, most importantly, these players need to know that they are being paid as professionals to deliver results. All right, that is what matters most. It was a really disappointing week. It was a really disappointing week. But of course, we hope that against Burnley and moving forward, that the club would really bounce back and, of course, make their fans all over the world happy again. Well, as usual, you can share your thoughts on the comment section. What are your expectations for this week's Premier League? Do you think that Manchester United are finally going to smile? Are they going to grab a win, the very first win of the season against Burnley? Talk about Chelsea, talk about Arsenal, Just drop your comment section. What are your expectations for this weekend? Thank you very much for watching us always. Bye for now.